Welcome to our weekly market review brought to you by ETM Analytics and Treasury One. This week, I am joined by Treasury One's head of risk, Wiechert Cilliers. Wiechert, thank you very much for joining me. And, you know, from east to west, the boards are flashing red as the markets open. Markets still digesting that wave of tariffs that Trump implemented, retaliatory tariffs, he calls it. But they implemented starting last week. And the market's not happy. They're digesting it. A lot of uncertainty. I think we have the VIX charts there as well, showing just this massive spike in market volatility. It's a tough Monday.
Yeah, good morning, everybody. It's a tough Monday. It was a tough end to last week. I posted this volatility graph, but the volatility is actually closer to 60 this morning. So it's actually a little bit more up again. So Trump's Liberation Day has become his demolition day. So this graph is a little bit outdated again, but I just couldn't. But it's sent shock first through the global markets. Obviously, the Chinese and some of the Asian markets were closed on Friday, and they caught up this morning. Hang Seng's down 10% this morning. US equities are going to set to open sharply lower again. So the market's just very, very uneasy. They're struggling to find what's going to happen next, how it's all going to play out, the tariffs, how big is the global slowdown going to be, how's the impact on inflation going to be. So there's a lot of things that causes there's uncertainty at the moment. So and normally what we see is it runs to safe havens. Last week we spoke about gold, but gold hasn't been the benefactor this week. Gold's actually also down. Something like the Japanese yen has done very well, Swiss franc has done very well, and that's because people are running to safe havens where they can get some yields and buying it up in currencies other than the dollar at this stage. So we'll need to see what happens from this perspective. Obviously, Jerome Powell came out on Friday. He also had a speech. He also reiterated that inflation is going to be higher on the back of tariffs, and it's something we need to watch. And he's not looking to cut interest rates anytime soon. So if I just go to the next chart, and we'll just show that the Nikkei has entered a bear market, down more than 20%. Nasdaq has entered a bear market, more than down 20%. S&P 500 is at 17%, so it's close to the bear market. The JSE locally was actually opened up 5% weaker this morning, but it's made a little bit of a recovery. But across the board, I can name the mentions: the DAX, the CAC, the FTSE 100. All right. We can name the markets; it's all red. Longer dated yields in the US are selling off, and again, that's just a fact. I think people are pulling it out of the equity markets and buying long dated bonds for the yield. So everything is down at this stage. The uncertainty is there. There's not much more I can say. It's now the question is, how long does it last?
Yes. You know, how entrenched is it going to be? And the two things that I know that we specifically, George Glenross, our director at ETM, pointed out this morning. So we're looking for two things right now: how central banks are going to respond to this, because this ultimately is going to change their focus and their shift a little bit. You mentioned Jerome Powell. He might not be looking at cutting rates, but the markets, I think the Fed Fund futures, the market's anticipating, I think something it went up to 5 rate cuts between now and December. So, you know, you have these massive shifts. So first of all, we will be looking at how central banks are going to respond to this, and if they will shift their focus to the economy and the markets and how that's going to fare through this tariff period. And the other thing is we talk about entrenchment, and the one thing that's really going to establish whether or not this is going to be a prolonged period is how countries geopolitically respond to this. Are they going to take a fight stance against Trump and say, you know what, we're going to dig in our heels and we are just going to retaliate like we saw with China, for example? Or are they going to play ball and head to the negotiation table with perhaps some ego-boosting talk for Trump and a transaction in the back pocket and say, okay, fine, we will do this. Can we back off a little bit and kind of find a midway to just tone all of this down? So those, I think, are going to be the determining factors of how long this is going to last. But the one thing this has obviously brought about is it has increased the recessionary risk fears that we've been having for the past 2 years for the US now. So the recessionary risks have increased, and this has just kind of brought on the end of that business cycle much faster, much quicker. And it's going to hurt for a little while until the dust settles. You mentioned now that, gold also down, Bitcoin for some odd reason also down, and oil prices also came down. But that was a little bit helped by the OPEC Plus countries on Thursday, I think it was, that decided to increase output as well. So, everything is down, and we're seeing this play out. And I think there's going to be a lot to watch in the coming weeks. But don't panic. It's not our first crash. I highly doubt that it's going to be our last.
Yeah, so you talked about the tariffs. So Benjamin Netanyahu from Israel is having a meeting in the White House with Donald Trump, hopefully to get some of his tariffs down. China has said we're going to slap 34% tariffs on the US. So it will be very interesting to see how it plays out. South Africa said they want to enter into new bilateral agreements with the US and have talks. But we like the stepchild of the US at the moment. They don't like us. We're doing very bad things in South Africa, like I've mentioned. But if you read the news articles, they're doing very bad things in the US as well. When J.D. Vance said they want to take away all the Chinese-owned land in the US. So I'm not sure how that's different from land expropriation in South Africa. So there's a lot of things going, a lot of things on the air. And you spoke about the global slowdown. Nothing more shows us that the market is expecting a global slowdown than the oil price. Back at 4-year lows at this stage, closer to $60 a barrel at this stage. It just says the demand for oil and demand for is going to be a lot less, and recessionary fears it's on its way. So let's just continue to see what happens in the oil market and how it plays out. And then, it's buckle up and stay safe.
Just out of curiosity, I saw a couple of headlines this morning saying that Zimbabwe's Emmerson Mnangagwa said that he will scrap all tariffs on the US, kind of to cozy up to Trump. And of course, we see the DRC chatting to the advisory of the US that's currently visiting there to kind of strike this minerals deal. So a lot of moving parts, a lot of countries independently deciding on how they're going to approach the Trump administration and how it's going to play out. But of course, we know we are concerned about the Rand's movements. It's like the tip of a dog's tail. When the markets move, it makes the largest swings.
Yeah, I've spoken a lot about what happened in the national front, tariffs, oil, gold. But we haven't spoken about local politics yet. And one of the things that sort of started off last week to give some weakness in the Rand was the local politics. The whole debacle about Action SA supporting the ANC budget and DA taking them to court, and what's going to happen to the GNU and how's it going to play out. And today we have the NEC meeting. So locally, politics is still very forefront at the moment, and it's definitely something we need to continue to watch. But added onto it was all the tariffs. The rest of the world also exited riskier assets like South Africa. We spoke about the JSE and equity markets being sold off. That was just a follow through. So the Rand was one of the worst performing currencies in the world last week. The Aussie dollar, for matter of fact, followed very closely with South Africa, and that's because of their affiliation to China being the biggest trading partner there. So Aussie dollar lost 5.5% last week. The Rand lost 5.5% last week. So that's the two worst performing currencies. The Rand's currently trading around the 1950 type of levels. It's a key level where we're currently at. And we spoke about the Rand being stuck in the 18 to 19 broader range for a while, with breakouts either side possible. We've seen the breakout now on either side. It can probably stay a little bit weaker for a prolonged period. We're not sure how long the uncertainty is going to last. But from this perspective, 20 is possible, 18 is possible. There's a lot of it's so difficult to call a level at this stage because we're not sure what the next headline is, how the dust is going to settle from this perspective. So the Rand is weak. Just apply risk management policies to your business, ride the wave out, and let's see how the news headlines play out in the week to come.
And remember, if you have any questions, make sure you register for Treasury One and ETM Analytics' webinar happening on Thursday with Director George Glenos. Wiechert, is going to be a bumpy week, but we will catch up again next week then.
Yes, thanks. Enjoy the week, everybody.